This is a video response to Orygyn, one of the YouTubers who reported coming back to YouTube because of the hashtag #ComeBackToYouTube campaign. And because of him responding to it, I saw his channel and this video called Hypotheticals, Rewiring Out Recidivism. And he's wanting to start a conversation about a hypothetical futuristic technology that would take a killer and physically rewire their brain and then reintegrate them into society. Now, I saw a parallel with what I do for a living, which is psychotherapy, and so I will be answering all of his questions in light of what I know and my experience, to see if my parallel kind of sheds a different light on this. So, what I immediately saw was that I do this for a living, and we try to change people's minds about what they're going to be doing in their behavior. And normally, in what I do, I use a lot of motivational interviewing or CBT, and we don't use a lot of physical aids, but sometimes the clients come with their own physical aids, one of which is replacement therapy substances. And I'm talking about nicotine gum, I'm talking about methadone, Suboxone, Vivitrol, Antabuse, whatever's in them that's keeping them from using their drug of choice. But also, I do know of other people who do psychotherapy with other forms of technology, one of which is electroconvulsive therapy, which is almost direct parallel to what Orygyn's talking about. Also, there are therapies based on eye movement, and those use technology that has something for your eyes to follow. And it's not a direct physical thing, but it is more than just talking. So let's see. His first question was, should people who have undergone this procedure be released into the public? And my answer is, yeah, what is the point of giving it if not to return them to society? Are we creating super soldiers here? How will the public react? If my experience is any measure, then they will react with fear and stigma and misunderstandings. How would I personally react? Fear and stigma and half of the misunderstandings. Personally, I would still be more suspicious of a person who went through this therapy, especially if they were a killer before that. Based on my professional experience with therapy failing, having a horrible success rate, some therapies, less than a quarter of the people who go through them get any success out of them, and so they have to go through therapy again or try some other type of therapy. But also, I've seen therapy go horribly wrong, and I'm not talking about anything from my professional experience, but my personal experience. I've seen someone who underwent a gender reassignment therapy who was gay as a teenager, throughout his 20s, thought he was straight because he went through that therapy, and then after having a wife and kids, he snapped one day and realized that, yeah, he really was still gay, and then that ruined his family. And they were all very religious in an evangelical church, so that really didn't go well for him. So I can imagine if this kind of therapy didn't work, then it's a little bit steeper results. So how would the victims, friends, and family react? Again, stigma, fear, misunderstanding, and probably feeling like they missed out on some vengeance. They would probably complain about a lack of closure. And then there's, regardless of the potential, how likely will this procedure be abused? Well, I'm not so much afraid of governments using it to wipe people's minds to make them think the way that they want them. I'm more afraid of the profit model taking over after the rehabilitation model lays the groundwork for the technology working. The profit model will take people from whatever referral source, you know, like Department of Corrections. They'll take people out of jail, and then they'll put them through this program and, you know, then put them back into society. And the profit model will want more and more people to go through, which will ruin the quality of the treatment. And this is something that I have seen professionally in my parallel. So with lesser quality of treatment, we'd probably have more recidivism, and we'd be putting killers back into society. So, would this treatment be enough, or would punishment also be required? Well, we still punish people for what some therapists would call a disease, you know, the disease of addiction. And we still say, well, you know, there's no other victim but themselves, but we still feel the need to punish them, you know. And state to state, it varies how much we feel like punishing people who are suffering anyway. But yeah, I think that punishment is something that we still won't be able to get around, especially with the killer scenario. One thing that I will say about my parallel is that with motivational interviewing, it's client-centered in that the client comes up with the goals. So if this model were put onto the killer who goes through this revolutionary new technology, then maybe the killer would be able to choose who he's going to be when he gets out. You know, like with the rewiring of the brain, they won't lose their love of heavy metal music. You know, they won't lose their love of video games. You know, they can pick and choose on a little card, like check, 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 I want this, this, and this, and this, and no killing, you know. So if that is something that they enter into and they contract for, then I think there's a little bit less immorality in forcing someone to undergo this procedure. You know, if they have choices themselves that can help guide the therapy. And that's my take on it. Everyone go check out Orygyn. He's back, and he's got some thinkers.